I'm back. Hi. We're now moving on to the revising and editing checklist. So this is on your supplemental, this is number 4. This is a little bit more intense look at the final 2 stages of writing, and it's a way to just walk you through everything you need to do and think about as you revise and edit. Because it's one thing to be told, you need to revise your paper, you need to edit your paper. Great, but what am I supposed to do when I do that? Revising and editing checklist to help you. So please open up that document, pause me if you need to, and away we go with this document. So you've written something, you've done your pre-writing, you've written something, and I know you want to let it go. I know. I'm that way too. I've done it. I've written it. No, I don't want to look at it anymore. I'm going to reiterate. Find people to look at it for you. If you're as lazy as I am, then good for you. And if you're lazy, then let other people do your work for you. Send your paper off for people to revise and edit, and you'll be amazed at what they'll come back with in order to help you do better, and they'll save you a lot of work and time and headache. So, revising and editing are the final critical stages for this, and below is, or on this document is a checklist for you after you reach the writing stage. So you look at revising, I'm reiterating, clarity is king. Let go of the little things as best you can. I'm the kind of person, if I, you know, have a misspelling or something, I have to fix it right away. You might be that way too. Okay. But look first for clarity. So give your paper to somebody and say, just does this make sense? Am I missing information? Is there something out of order? Is this clear? The next thing you need to do is soapstone your paper. So soapstone provides you the keys to going through the subject, going through, and by subject, not only what are you talking about, but structurally, is this in good shape overall? And then if you look under subject in the second bulleted item, the paragraph structure. I reiterate once more, 2 to 3 sentences should be about the length of a paragraph unless you're purposely making it shorter than 2 sentences, which is possible, or longer than 3 sentences. Um, the general structure is you introduce the topic, and then you, by paraphrasing what someone has said, and then you follow that with a quote that that person has said. Do not repeat words from the paraphrase to the quote. You don't want to say something like, first baseman Joey Votto said he had a lot of fun at the Reds game yesterday, and then have the quote saying, I had a lot of fun at the Reds game yesterday, Votto said. You need to paraphrase. You need to change the language. Reds first baseman Joey Votto said yesterday's game or the Tuesday's game was enjoyable. And then he would say, I had a lot of fun at yesterday's game. So you change the words in order to not repeat any of them. Look at sentence structure. I put up there again to try to stay away from to be verbs, stick to short sentences, and the general rule is subject, verb, object structure. It'll keep you out of trouble. When you start with introductory phrases, when you start with the object, a lot of times that turns into some convoluted sentences. So just say, Votto hit the ball down the left field line, instead of trying to say, hitting the ball down the left field line, because when you do that, a lot of times you'll end up with things called dangling modifiers, where you'll say, hitting the ball down the left field line, Reds fans cheered as Joey Votto got a double. You just made a dangling modifier, and we'll get to those on Wednesday, in case you didn't understand what happened there. Other things for phrasing, says or said for attribution, avoid I think and I feel phrases, avoid cliches. All this is coming up too on another list. Then you see the rest of this, which I'm not going to read to you, but for a soapstone for occasion, audience, purpose, and speakers and tone. So please make sure you go through this, read through this, please. Pause me if you need to, and then come back. The final stage is at the editing stage, and this is where you go into the more specific items, spelling and capitalization and grammar, contractions. Please use contractions. You're not writing a dissertation for your PhD, so you don't need to, when you are writing, don't say, the students did not attend the game, the Miami football game. Just say the students didn't attend the Miami football game. You're writing informally, write how you speak. All the AP Stylebook issues then are listed. These are the things we're going to be going through in class. So it's all right there in a handy dandy list for you. Okay, that's it for number 4. I'm going through all that stuff fast, but you need to please make sure that you're spending time reviewing this and knowing it and understanding it. And if you have any questions about it, let me know. We'll be doing some drills and things throughout the semester, so Terrence and I can make sure you are getting a good grasp on it. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is getting a little bit more organized with this list of all the different writing conventions that Terrence and I want you to know. So you're going to create a list, and yes, on Wednesday I'm gonna check on your computer that you have this list saved to your computer. That's how important this list is for Terrence and me. So create a Word document. Let's title it creatively "List of Things and Stuff," and we're just gonna add a bunch of key writing elements that are going to help transform your writing. I know some of you are already excellent at this, but it doesn't hurt to go through those things. So this is your list of things and stuff. Pause me if you need to create the document and type that title, and we're going to start with number 1. And the number 1 thing is the umbrella of everything that's on the revising and editing checklist, and that is it's not just what you say that matters, but how you say it. So type that out. That's number 1. It's not just what you say that matters, but how you say it. You can say the words "I love you" to somebody, but it depends on your audience. It depends on the occasion. It depends on the tone of your voice, on just whether you really mean it or not. So how you say something matters just as much as what you say. That's number 1. Number 2 is the lead is everything. If you would please pause me and open up a document in Files in Canvas titled Types of Leads. Go ahead and do that now. Terrence and I are not going to make you memorize the types of leads that you can choose. This is a way for you to have a resource. So when you're thinking about how you're going to start a story, this is it. You go to the list and you say, okay, what's the best way for me to start a story? Here are the types of leads. So open up that document and look at them. Then what I want you to do is I've given you 3 links to stories. You don't need to read the whole story if you want. If you don't want to, if you have time, you want to read them, great. I just want you to focus on the lead. So read the first several paragraphs of each story, and can you determine which type of leads each of these leads is? They are all 3 are different. See if you can figure out the types of leads, and then ask yourself, what do you like about them? And think in terms of style. Think in terms of paragraph structure. Look at the verbs of these leads. Start to truly analyze and evaluate the writing instead of feeling like you have to memorize the things you read. Just look at the way they're produced and analyze them and evaluate how you feel about them. We'll talk about those leads in class on Wednesday, so be ready to chat. The next item on your list. So right now you have 2 things. You have it's not just what you say that matters, but how you say it. You have the lead is everything. The third thing is clarity. I'm going to go back to that. Clarity is king, and complex sentences rarely provide clarity. You think if you write a long sentence with commas and semicolons and dashes and everything else, that people are going to look at you as a sophisticated writer. People are going to stop reading what you have to say because by and large, complex sentences rarely provide clarity. They usually get confusing. You have subject-verb agreement issues. You'll get dangling modifiers. You'll have comma splices. It just becomes a jumbled mess. So embrace short sentences. Just trust me on this. What I'd like for you to do is to go into Canvas, and you're going to go where Terrence wrote up his do's and don'ts list. This is part 1 of his do's and don'ts list. Open that up, and you're going to scroll down to the section that is in red font that says Watch Complex Sentence Structure. Copy and paste that from Terrence's list. So grab it copy and paste it under this new list that we're creating. Under number 3, clarity is king, and complex sentences rarely provide clarity. This is number 3 on your list. And copy and paste where it starts with watch complex sentence structure, and that goes all the way down to, and then the next thing he says is people are busy, and he gives an example of a sentence. President Greg Crawford, who likes to ride in his red and white rocket ship in his spare time, had only 2 weeks to prepare for his trip to either the moon or to Jupiter. I got to take a breath because the sentence is so long, depending on the weather in Indianapolis. I know you want to get everything in there in a sentence. Don't do it. That sentence is 40 words long. As a rule, when you get to the number 20 in words in a sentence, it's time to stop. You've done enough. So look at Terrence's fix of that in the second paragraph where he says, how about? He chops that up into 3 sentences. President Greg Crawford likes to ride in his red and white rocket ship in his spare time. That's 17 words. Even so, he had only 2 weeks to prepare for his trip to either the moon or to Jupiter. That's 19 words. It depended on the weather in Indianapolis. That's 7 words. Don't you might sit there and think, God, that's just so simple sounding. Yeah, it is. That's right, and that's good. I understand that. I can wrap my pea-sized brain around those sentences. I can't do it around that 40-word sentence. So those are 17, 19, and then 7 words respectively in those 3 sentences. Simple, understandable, clarity. So I should see on your list on Wednesday when I go around and look at your computer, under number 3, clarity is king. Complex sentences rarely provide clarity. And then I should see you have copied and pasted that section from Terrence's list. Number 4, avoid these phrases. I think, I feel, in my opinion, to me, personally. All those things are gone. You've got to say goodbye to those. It's hard. It's hard because when you give your opinion, you like to say, well, I feel that because it's nice and soft. You are softening your point of view so as not to offend people. It's one thing to say, Cleveland sucks. It's another thing to say, I feel that, in my opinion, Cleveland is not a great place to live. Those are 2 completely different things. And I know you might say, well, gosh, saying Cleveland sucks, that's harsh. Yeah, that's pretty harsh. Probably a better way to word it. Cleveland, maybe just saying Cleveland is not an ideal place to live, a little softer. But just avoid this phrasing before that. I think, I feel, in my opinion, to me, personally, those have to go. You got to get rid of them. No more. If you watch any professional commentator or read any professional commentator, sports, on politics, anything, you never, ever hear those phrases. I bet you if you watch Terrence, if Terrence has you watch his show on Sunday nights, you will never hear Terrence say, I feel, personally, to me, I believe. I doubt he'll do it. If he does it, it was an accident. So please keep that in mind. You're going to copy and paste now under number 4, under these avoid phrases. Go to Terrence's do's and don'ts list, and you're going to copy other words to stay away from. These are useless, Terrence says. And they are 4 words. Arguably, perhaps, maybe, and seems. You can use arguably for anything. He is arguably the best athlete. She is arguably the greatest artist. Everything's arguable. I can argue about everything. So everything is arguably. Drop it. Seems and perhaps. Those are this spineless jellyfish language. Well, it seems like it's going to be a beautiful day. Just stop it. Stop it. Those words have to go as well. This list, and when you get into your editing stage, these are words that you can type in your search document and see if any of them pop up. Type in seams, and you might find 2 or 3 seams. They have to go. We expect you to do this. If you're gonna, this is an advanced writing class. We expect you to take the time to avoid these things that really hurt your writing. All right, one more thing, and then I'm done. Number 5 on this list is purposeful paragraph size. If you look at your revising and editing checklist, and you go up to that revising stage, you'll see when under number 2, the soapstone your paper, about how important paragraph structure is. That's also in the 4 stages of writing document where I talk about paragraph structure. So you're hearing this a lot. The bells and whistles should be going off in your brain that this matters to Terrence and me. We should not see massive paragraphs from you ever, unless you're absolutely doing it purposefully, and you can argue that. So look at this paragraph in your supplemental document that I've given you. This huge paragraph that starts with the man emerged from a charcoal gray pickup and approached the hotel check-in counter. This is an actual lead from a long-form story, fantastic story about a man named Christopher Dorner who was an LAPD officer who got fired, he thought wrongly, and then decided to go on a killing rampage. So this is a real lead from a long-form story. Look at how big that paragraph is. That is not enjoyable to look at to me. I don't want to read that. That's too much. Um, we like things broken down in sizable chunks, and that's not it. So that's a big paragraph, and I want you to break it up. So take a minute. You're going to pause me, and I want you to decide where this big paragraph should be separated in order to add drama to this event. Once you've finished, you think you have it to how you think it should be, then you're going to click on that link below that's going to take you to the actual story, and I want you to see how this writer, and I believe this story either won or was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. I think it was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize, which means it's darn good writing. I want you to see how this professional writer broke it up and see how close you get to that. This is something else we'll talk about on Wednesday. So pause me and go ahead and do that. Okay, I think that's enough for Wednesday. Again, we're going to go through the stuff we talked about here today. So, and we'll also go through the AP style book information. All right, so have a great weekend. Maybe have a bratwurst, adult beverage if you indeed are old enough. And don't wear lederhosen ever. Okay.